Let's talk about the coronavirus.
The incarnation of destruction.
So what's going on with the coronavirus here? My apologies again, it's been a few days, seeing as I appear to have become ill over the past week with something that resembles flu-like symptoms and everything, but I'm starting to feel a lot better. So we're going to cover what we seem to know so far, everything, as well as me giving my opinion and perhaps some speculation on what's going on here with this novel coronavirus. As we can see here, a little thing that I believe Channel 4 put up of a gentleman who was living in Wuhan province, and basically him putting on multiple masks as well as goggles and everything to cover any type of sensitive area on an actual person's body. Because remember, something gets in your eyes, if it's in droplet form or anything, it can still get you, as apparently some folks that have used a bunch of drugs over the years have informed me of. But I digress. The thing that really got me and really just stood out to me the other day when I was on the Twitters and really caused me alarm was when I saw this. So this was from People's Daily Chime and everything. They posted this right about 24 hours ago, about 22 hours or so ago, and this is what I saw. And what they posted was an amazingly adorable picture and compilation of pandas doing cute things. Look at him, he's sitting there and everything. And the thing that took me aback was, okay, with all these things going, oh, look at him, he's doing a handstand. He's doing a handstand. As adorable as that is, it's kind of like when the president goes out there and tweets a whole bunch of random salacious things, and they just freaking get up people's gourd and everything. When that happens, I pause and say, what else is going on? And this is essentially the same thing here. As soon as I saw this, I'm like, okay, so what's the deal? What's actually going on here? Because this really concerns me. And to be fair, if this is a potential full-blown on pandemic, you're going to want to maintain a level of civility and calm, because if order breaks down, then, well, that's when things really go up the creek without a paddle. So let's go over here to let's pop into the Washington Post first here. So we have an article from the Washington Post. Basically, they're expanding the travel warnings and everything with the coronavirus. What is the coronavirus? The coronavirus is basically, as far as I know it, of the same family as SARS and everything like that. Basically, it is a virus, not bacteria, that basically goes into your cells. And what seems to be very novel and just really out there about this one is, apparently, and we're still unsure of this, it's communicable before people actually present symptoms. But let's face it, if somebody is a walking snot rag, they're coughing, they're sneezing everywhere and everything, basically the person knows they're sick, everybody knows they're sick. You're like, oh, okay, maybe I'm gonna kind of walk the other direction, maybe I'm gonna try to hold my breath, something like that. Things that, let's face it, people do that stuff. The issue is, if you don't know you're a carrier and you are communicable, that's a major issue, because if it could be communicable up to 2 weeks before an individual actually shows symptoms, that could explain a lot of what's actually going on here. So basically, what's happening? Upwards right now, we have, according to the Washington Post, 82 dead so far. It's terrible that those individuals have lost their lives. Basically, we have upwards of 50 million people being quarantined in, I believe it was upwards of 15 to 16 of the largest cities over there in China. China's health minister says the coronavirus is increasing in virulence and now could be contagious even before people exhibit symptoms. This is highly concerning for a number of reasons, just because I believe it was the mayor of Wuhan province who also stated that you had the travel of upwards of 5 million people in and out of Wuhan province before they actually started to quarantine this, because it's the Greater Chinese New Year festivities and major travel time, major celebration. Yeah, and people travel all across the country and see historical sites and just celebrate ringing in the new year. Yeah, this is the worst, one of the worst potential times for this, along with the fact is, if it is the standard cold and flu season up here in the Northern Hemisphere, I mean, a lot of folks, if they just got the sniffles, they don't know what's necessarily going on. They don't necessarily know that this is some new virus that has a potentially high mortality rate and everything. And there's just so much that we don't know right now. And that is the scary part, because when we don't know, our minds tend to go to the worst possible place right here. As well as, I just want to go through a couple of these quick bullet points here in the Post article. A scientific assessment of the spread of the disease, assuming an optimistic 90% quarantine, still protects more than 59,000 infections and 1,500 deaths. Twice the toll of the 2002 to 2003 SARS outbreak. And this is what people remember. A lot of folks do remember that. I remember that. And I don't live in China. So, I mean, you can understand how people are just starting to go a bit nutty bananas about this. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said on Monday there were new cases confirmed of the coronavirus overnight, and that's investigating 110 people in 26 states, as well as 5 cases of the pneumonia-like illness, while infections have been confirmed in France, South Korea, Japan, Nepal, Thailand, Cambodia, Singapore, Vietnam, Taiwan, Canada, and Sri Lanka. We have a map over here. If we take a look at this map here, as you can see, that's when you're talking about upwards of 1,000 or more, which apparently we don't have quite yet, but this is all over China. You can see right now, spreading over there. We have confirmed cases as well in France, Australia, the U.S. and Canada over there as well. So last update to this, pushing basically upwards of 3,000 or so cases confirmed now. And the thing is, we don't have any real way to treat this. You can only really treat the symptoms, and it's like they're still talking about a 12-month rollout before you actually have a potential treatment, vaccine, whatever you would, that would be safe for human use. Because, I mean, I believe they've dispatched some HIV retrovirus drugs to see if it does have any potential effects some pharmaceutical companies have. Because this is affecting people potentially all across the world now. Because if this did start somewhere in late December, like folks are saying, and you had a bunch of folks that didn't even know that they were infected, and they continue to pass it along. I believe it was the case in Canada, where there was a gentleman, he was infected, he's now in stable condition. They're monitoring his wife that they believe to be infected as well. She was exhibiting basically minor symptoms. Basically, she more or less just seemed fine. And that's the thing. This is a virus. And like any type of medical illness, I mean, things affect different people differently. It's like, yeah, we are all more similar than we are different, but we do each have our own unique biochemical makeup. So that's the thing. It's like that basically past flu or whatever that I had, it kicked my butt for like 4 days. I was basically in bed and stuff, just a ball of phlegm. Whereas someone else, okay, maybe they get the sniffles and maybe they only miss 1 day of work. Maybe they don't miss any work at all. That's the thing. It's that uncertainty. So let's pop over here to the Times. So we get our New York Times here article here. Make sure you buckle up. As you can see, alarm grows as markets tumble and death toll rises. Now, in the United States, it says more than 100 people have been evacuated for possible infection, and nearly 3,000 people have contracted the virus. The vast majority do live in China. I know that the U.S. has ordered individuals representing the United States of America in Wuhan to evacuate. They should be out of there potentially as soon as this evening. right around the publishing time of this video or so. Power to them. And you can see, of course, it's affecting the markets because it's uncertainty. The markets hate uncertainty. The S&P fell by 1.6%. I believe the Dow dropped about 450 points today as well, for fears of a potential global pandemic. Yep, and the CDC, of course, urges travelers to avoid non-essential trips to China, as well as I believe it has a level 3 advisory, and I believe a level 4 advisory is basically just don't go into Wuhan. That's the thing. It's just, you're talking about millions of people. You're trying to do the best you can with the limited information you have. And that's the thing. It's like people are ragging on China, saying, oh, they're not sharing all their information. Maybe they aren't. Maybe they aren't because they fear of just a full-blown panic that could actually make things worse. Maybe they just don't know. I'm not even sure what's more terrifying. The fact that maybe they are withholding potential information for whatever reason, or if this is all the information they have. I'm not sure what is scarier. The fact that we don't know, or the fact that they know they don't know. So let's continue on. You can see pictures of individuals escorting an individual that apparently has coronavirus, apparently. Yeah, many of the deaths as well were in the central province of Hubei, the center of the outbreak as well. Apologies, I believe Wuhan is the actual city as well there. Yep, Wuhan is the city. My apologies for my bad geography there. And I believe at least one person has actually perished in Beijing as well. But yeah, this is incredibly scary here. And yep, there are no confirmed deaths as of the New York Times article, which popped out about an hour or so ago, that are outside of China. So God bless everyone else, and power to the people of China. I mean, I believe they have a saying, Wuhan Jizhuo. I'm sure I butchered that, but it's basically stay strong Wuhan, and power to the people there as well. And yeah, we'll go through. Yep, American Airlines. Yep, going through the economic impact. Fears that China will have to see a decrease in potential demand for oil. So oil prices are going down. People are moving their money into gold. Anytime there is a potential fear and anything going on with the market, it seems like fairly standard procedure there as well. As there has been a lot of criticism from individuals there in Wuhan about the potential slow response. What did they know? When did they know it? Were they downplaying this? Was it simply, well, report to your boss, report to your boss? Well, I don't necessarily want to bring this to my boss because, well, if I bring up an issue, then I might get yelled at, and I don't want to get yelled at. I don't want to stir the pot. So anytime you have any type of large bureaucracy, there's always going to be inefficiencies. That can be a good thing in some circumstances. Others, it can be tragic. Let's hope this doesn't get more tragic as well. So just want to pop over to where was in the article here. Yep. So the Chinese healthcare system strains to serve patients even under normal circumstances. Those weaknesses are most pronounced in the poorer areas of China, like Wuhan, the epicenter of the coronavirus outbreak. Panicked residents of the city are headed to the hospitals if they have any sign of cold or cough. Videos circulating on Chinese social media show doctors straining to handle the enormous workload and hospital corridors loaded with patients, some of whom appear to be dead. Wuhan hospitals have posted messages online urgently appealing for medical equipment. The situation is even more desperate in nearby rural areas. Yanzhong Huan, a senior fellow for the Global Health at the Council on Foreign Relations, said China has invested a lot in building infrastructure to deal with infectious diseases. There are reports that they are currently building upwards of 1,000-bed facilities in the greater Wuhan area as well to help accommodate all these individuals that are ill. While folks are working on vaccines, there have been a number of checkpoints set up to do temperature checks on people as well. However, I'm even uncertain over what that may actually do, because if this is communicable and you don't even show symptoms for up to 2 weeks, I mean, you could be fully infected. Somebody gives you a fever check. You don't know you're infected. They don't know you're infected. And by the time you get through, another 8 to 10 hours later, you're starting to show signs. You've already come in contact with folks at an airport, at a New Year's festival or something like that. And it's really looking like this could be just a major, major issue as well. And again, this does hit a little home to me just because I basically am still getting over the flu. Was it the flu? Was it this? I have no idea. I seem to be fine. I don't particularly think it's that. But then again, you never know, because this case is all over the world right now. And that's the thing. It is that uncertainty that we don't know about. So let's continue to read on. All right, just want to get a quote here from, where was this? There's disease. Yep. At this stage of the outbreak, the thing that makes the most difference are finding people, diagnosing people, and getting them isolated, said Dr. Tom Inglesby, an infectious disease specialist and the director of the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security. If you isolate the city, then my concern is that you're making it harder in a number of ways to do things you need to do, including getting sick people to the hospital and getting supplies into medical facilities, he said. He's absolutely right there. As soon as you're disrupting any type of logistics, infrastructure, supply lines or anything, you're always going to run into different issues as well. And I realize you're trying to prevent the most negative circumstances by getting other people infected as well. There is no good solution here. That's the thing. And like he says, you can't board up a germ, says Lawrence Augustin, a law professor at Georgetown University and director of the O'Neill Institute for National and Global Health Law. The novel infection will spread, and that's the thing. This is new. This is novel. This is not something that really had come across to develop any type of medical way to combat it as well. And again, some experts, however, say the lockdowns could help, at least in theory. Anything that is done that increases social distancing can help decrease the spread of the virus, or at least slow it, said Dr. Thomas R. Frieden, former director of the United States Center for Disease Control and Prevention. If you do it right, it's not impossible. It will have a positive impact. And these are the experts here. I mean, we got to try to listen to what they say the best we can, and hey, Wuhan Zhizhu. Power to the people of Wuhan. Yeah, and even Hong Kong hospitals are in turmoil as workers prepare for possible coronavirus cases. I believe they had a couple of cases over there as well. And let me see, let's go down to the... Yeah, there was some criticism as well, I believe. It was Mr. Lee. Second, yep, China's second highest ranking official, Premier Li Keqiang, on Monday visited Wuhan to inspect local efforts to contain the disease, the government said. In pictures released by the state-run news media, Mr. Li is seen wearing a face mask and blue protective gown while posing for photos with health workers. He's also seen speaking with a patient in isolation ward via video conference. The premier's visit comes as the central government is under increasing pressure to prove it is adequately coping with the crisis. On Saturday, Xi Jinping, China's leader, convened a meeting of the Politburo Standing Committee, the senior-most executive body of the Chinese Communist Party, as a demonstration of the government's hand-on approach to the outbreak. Hospitals in Wuhan have posted messages online urgently appealing for medical equipment. Mr. Li, who has been assigned to oversee the national response to the outbreak, pledged to provide Wuhan centers with 20,000 pairs of safety goggles. That's the thing. They say the standard N95 masks only can get particles of, I believe, 0.4 microns. Your standard dust mask that you use while you're sheetrocking and stuff like that. Apparently some of these particles, especially if someone's coughing or sneezing or something like that, might be as low as 0.2 microns. So that individual over here in the first thing, what he actually had is he tosses on his mask, and then he tosses on a second mask. He tosses on a scarf, his coat, a hat, and the goggles there. See, that's the thing. A lot of individuals are like, oh, you look like, you know what that kind of looks like? That kind of looks like a plague doctor. I don't know. That's the thing. It's weird that we see a lot of the same things just kind of popping up throughout history. But I mean, if you can prevent yourself from coming in contact in the first place, I mean, that seems like a positive step while we're working on things to combat this outbreak as well. Let me just go back over the times. Let me see. Yeah, that's the thing. You can still see folks are trying to take part in the holiday and everything as well. That's the thing. This is just such a high travel rate and everything. And okay, now serious, just right. You ever wonder why you just can't seem to disable Siri from your phone? I wonder. Nobody's listening. Hey guys, I digress. Yeah, but all I know is right here, we're looking at everything that's going on. Basically, they shut down Disney World over there. If you're shutting down the Chinese Disney World, it's the holiday season. This is a major issue. I mean, folks are trying to deal with it the best they can. What's one of the ways you do it? Dark humor. All these different ways. Dude Man looks like was that like a little 3-gallon jug on his head there? Just giving the little peace sign as well as he has his mask on. Because that's the thing. It's like when times are at their worst, you gotta try to have a little bit of humor in some things. Because if not, it's the weight of such serious things like this, it can destroy you. And if you let it destroy you, then I mean, if you are potentially susceptible to the illness, I mean, the mind and body work in very interesting ways. And a lot of the folks over there in China, they've been saying this for years. It's just, call it qi, call it chakra, call it whatever you want. But if your mind says that it's over, there's no hope, there's a good chance your body will tend in the same direction. Not always, not in every case, but just, I've heard far too many cases in my lifetime of folks that just didn't seem to believe, that had just given up, and then their body just follows suit. And then other folks that were just such hard-nosed sons of guns that it almost seemed it was impossible for anything to take them out. That just they refused to give up. And I do really think that there is something to that. So, but yeah, you have all these different issues here, as well as, this was a beautiful thing. A video on Twitter appeared to show a taxi driver wearing goggles and a hazmat suit while taking a woman to the airport. The woman asked the driver whether his outfit might scare off potential fares. He replied serenely, "Safety first, right?" That is a true Chinese hero, in my opinion, right there. It's Dude Man getting along, he's doing his job, he's taking the precautions, and he's taking it in good stride. And that's the thing. It's like, I see folks going on left and right about, all this. It's, what could have happened about this? What's actually happening here? And it's just, SARS is still, that memory is still with a lot of folks. And again, there is no conclusive evidence about how the outbreak started, and it's lacking. While officials in Wuhan first traced it to a seafood market, some patients who have fallen ill never visited the market. Researchers also have offered disparate explanations for what animals may have transmitted the virus to humans. And again, bureaucracy slowed the response to an emerging crisis. That's the thing, but at the same time, it's like, okay, well, people can be transmitting this disease for up to 2 weeks before they even show symptoms. I mean, maybe these folks came across each other. I've seen some very interesting pictures of maybe the way, if you're tracking a different cell phone SIM card, or the paths different people cross on a regular basis, especially if you're talking about China where you're dealing with upwards of 2 billion folks. That's a lot of people, especially in some of these cities where you're in very close proximity. You're maximizing the amount of chances that people can come in contact, and especially if this is airborne. And that's the big thing. It's just we don't really know what's going on with this. It's scary. It is scary. We have started to see a number of folks from the Chinese military start to get involved. You're starting to see them start to mobilize, whether it's building these hospitals, whether it's getting medical supplies in there. And this is going to be a test for the People's Republic of China. And just for all those folks there, it's just power to you. Wuhan Jizhu. We do also have to touch upon one last thing over here as well, and so we'll go back over here and we'll pop over because there are the conspiracy theories as well. So if we all remember Resident Evil, we had Umbrella Corporation, which basically, here we go, it's courtesy of Undoomed. So Dude wrote the other day, wait, so there's a biological research lab with the exact same logo as the Umbrella Corporation right in the city where the coronavirus originated, and Corona is an anagram for raccoon, which is Raccoon City, the city in which Resident Evil takes place. And then he uses a little bit of profanity there. Okay, this is the symbol for Umbrella Corporation here on the right. This is the symbol for that level 4 disease center that's within about 20 miles of the first, where they believe the outbreak came from, that seafood market there. That does look eerily similar. And then you have all the conspiracy theories going around about, oh, well, this was a release or something. And there has been actual, an article written, I believe last year, stating that there was actually a disease lab over there in Canada where coronavirus was being studied, and allegedly, according to some, perhaps samples or different specimens may have been smuggled out there back into China. Again, these are things that I've heard on this internet stuff and things. I haven't seen really any mainstream outlets or anything cover that. It's speculation, but it is creepy as hell. This definitely is creepy as hell, though. Then you get into the things, it's like, well, would China want to do this? Would this be an F-up? Were they trying to slim the population or anything like that? It's like, or would this just be a major F-up? The thing is, we don't know. That's the thing. I mean, it would be absolutely horrible if this was something that was fully on man-made and people were doing this with malice. I don't particularly think so. I tend to think that something has happened, individuals were infected, and now people are scared. People are terrified about what's going on because they don't know. And I mean, even if you go over here to the CDC, the human coronavirus, what we got? Oh, they're closely monitoring the outbreak. Okay, let's learn a little more. All right, the transmission. Coronaviruses are a large family of viruses that are common in many different species of animals, including camels, cattle, cats, and bats. Rarely, animal coronaviruses can infect people when spread between people such as with MERS and SARS. When person-to-person spread has occurred with MERS and SARS, it is thought to have happened mainly via respiratory droplets produced when an affected person coughs or sneezes, similar to how influenza and other respiratory pathogens are spread. Spread of SARS and MERS between people has generally occurred between close contact. It is important to note that how easily a virus spreads person to person can vary. Some viruses are highly contagious, like measles, while other viruses are less so. It's important to know that in order to better understand the risk associated with virus, the CDC considers this to be a very serious public health threat. Based on current information, the immediate risk from the 2019 novel coronavirus to the general American public is considered low at this time. I believe we've only had a handful of cases within these United States of America. I believe, what they have by the last map there. The map. All right, 5 confirmed cases. Maybe there are a few more. One surprised me. But here's the thing, again, we don't know. And when we don't know, people get scared. And when people get scared, that's the thing. When things start to break down, then that's when you enter complete chaos. I don't think we're at that point yet, but then again, I'm an American just recently recovering from flu-like symptoms over here in the United States of America. So I think I got it pretty good right now. I'm feeling a lot better, but to the people over there in China, Wuhan Jiju, power to the people. Be safe, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Take care. Peace out, everybody.